Hi guys, Michelle Wetterts here with you at Citrus Twist. I'd like to thank you in advance for joining me for this week's Tuesday tutorial. Today I am going to share a technique with you that I often use when I'm not feeling too creative or I'm out of ideas or I'm just really short on time but I still want to make something. What I like to do when I'm having these feelings is I like to go back into my albums and find an layout that I really like, and then I use that as a jumping off point. So I went back, like I said, in my albums and I found an old Citrus Twist layout that I made a few years ago. This is dated September 2014. So it's almost a couple years old, maybe a year and a half, I'm not sure. I think this was fall. But I really like this layout. It was fun. It's a smaller size, it's a 6x8, but I really liked how I matted my cardstock, and I have this big, beautiful title, and it's pretty simple, but I really liked it. And so I pulled this one out of its little photo sleeve, and I'm going to use this to inspire a layout. When I'm taking an older layout to use the inspiration, I'm not necessarily going to copy it exact. I might rearrange elements, which is what I mostly do sometimes. But this case, I'm really liking this, and I'm going to try to sort of replicate it just as it is, but with new products. And even though I'm going to do that, this new layout is not going to look like this one because, I'm using different products, different pictures. It's going to be bigger. So I'm not too worried about having, a similar layouts in my albums. So let's go. I cut my paper down to 9x12 because that is the size that I like to work with. And I've already went and cut this white cardstock down also to 9x12, and I'm just going to decide here exactly how much I want to cut off. And I'm going to use my pencil to kind of give me some little lines. Now, because because she's on the right side of the photo, I'm going to set the picture down here on the right side, as opposed to the original layout, because there's more room. It looks like it's going into the page, as opposed to here. It just looks kind of funky. If I set her here, it looks better. Just kind of like a small little thing that you might notice. Now I've got a frame here, and I actually have a frame in this epoxy sticker pack from Maggie Holmes Bloom. And as much as I want to stick it on there, I'm afraid it'll be too sticky. So I am going to cut this out. Use my small scissors. Sometimes this is the back of that yellow sheet, and it's got a really light pink print. And this might be good to use right here. It looks like I still need to cut this off, and I'm going to be careful when I cut it because I like these little tabs that are at the bottom of the paper because I can use them. So here we go. Now the reason why I chose to do this is because I didn't want the yellow to be too bold of a color. I kind of want it to be like, a secondary color to go off of this color right here. I didn't want it to be all yellow. I think that would make too much yellow, and I really want to emphasize the blue and the pinks that are in the background floral paper. But I can use a little bit of it. The only thing is, I think the pattern is very similar, the triangles and the dots, but because I'm not going to use too much of it, I think it'll work out just fine. So, let's see. In the original layout, I don't have pattern paper that goes straight across the bottom, but that is because I have a really small page size here. This is a 6x8. So one thing when I am, looking at copying a design from one layout to the next, this is an adjustment I need to make because it's bigger, I've got more space to fill. And so I'm going to fill that space with a little bit more layering of pattern paper. I'm going to go ahead and pause here and run this back through the sewing machine because I do want to do a couple of stitch lines and I need to get that on here before I go and glue any of my papers down. So like I said, I've glued down my things like I had planned. I've left a little bit, the edges a little loose. They're not completely glued down because I might want to stick some things in there. So I also haven't attached these quite yet because I'm not for sure and I don't want to stick something down just and want to move it around to fit some other things. So now I've got the basic plan of my page down. It matches this layout pretty good. There are some differences, which is good, and what I'm going for. I don't want something super same, but something similar. So this is what I'm thinking next is I want to add the details into my pages. I really like this butterfly element that is going to stick in and that's going to stay along with the frame. But I also want to add in some more details right here on this side of the picture to kind of draw your attention to her cute little face. So what I pulled out is I've cut apart this little block of paper from the cut apart sheet that's in there from Maggie Holmes' line, and I've pulled out a tag from the little bits and pieces pack from Elle Studio's new line that's in the kit. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this because I know I'm not going to be able to fit the whole thing down there because I've glued my paper. So, and I haven't stuck any glue on it yet because this is all temporary. This is going to be the same thing. I'm not going to be able to fit this completely behind anything. But I like how it says happy memory and it kind of adds a little bit more black into the thing, into my layout. So now the tricky is where do I want to stick it? Kind of want to leave the pink around here alone because that kind of matches the photo a little bit. So I'm thinking if I stick it behind here and then pull this one out a little bit, thinking that'll work. I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and go with it. So I'm going to pull out some other elements from the epoxy stickers, and I've already cut them apart. I picked them because they're pink, and they're the two different pinks that are in the papers that I'm using. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stick that one there probably. This one is nice. It's an arrow. It says wonderful, and I think it's a good way to fill this little empty space that's on the left-hand side of her. So I think that is what I am going to go with for the moment. Let me move up a little bit here. No, I like it down. I am layering my words so they kind of stack right on top of each other. Here's this. Another option that I have are all these stickers from, the Felicity collection. But I'm really liking that this black. I'm trying to get that in a few different spots. These are on a white and a pink, so maybe somewhere else. So I'll put those to the side. And let's go ahead and get these few things stuck down because I like it. Okay, now all that's left that I really need to do is do my embellishing. So I pulled out a couple things that I might use, and they include these little plus signs in the gray. I like those. I also like these sequins. They're just little stickers, so I don't have to glue any of them there. But they come in some pinks and yellows, which are definitely something I want to bring into it. I could even bring this gray, because it's kind of like a grayish blue, and it looks pretty nice next to that one, so that's an option. But from there on out, I think that that will probably be what I do. So let me go ahead and get these down. I'm going to try out the plus signs. I like the idea of putting some gray in here because it is so much like the blue. It's pretty close. It's a bluish gray color. So maybe like that. I only have two in the gray color. Another thing I could do is bring in some more yellow, because I only really have it in one spot and it's peeking out right here. You can see just a tiny bit. And that's something I might do. I don't know if it's too much yellow or not, but I could definitely bring it down here, I think. But I'm not liking that so much. And I think I'm going to go ahead and not do it, because I'm just liking having that yellow in one spot. That's just a little personal preference, I think, at this moment. But I am going to add some of these pink ones in, and I will sprinkle those kind of around. Let's see, maybe over here. It's a not so noticeable detail, but it's there. Okay, I went and added a word sticker, Celebrate, right here to kind of stack on top of that and fill more of that space. And I think that is where I'm going to stop. I am going to try one thing. The only thing that's bothering me about this layout is that I've got so much white space, and I think it's kind of a little too blank. I could leave it as is, and I would be probably okay with it. But I'm going to try one thing. One of the things I like to do to add texture to a white background is add even more white cardstock. It's kind of a tiny detail that I will sometimes add. And if I'd been thinking I might have done this ahead of time, is added a couple strips. But since I already have the title down, I really can't do that. So that's not an option. Another option is to maybe punch some shapes out of my cardstock. And I'm really into butterflies right now. I think my last round of layouts for the February kits, I had some butterflies. So, going old school with my punch here. Saves me so much time. Alright, so that's enough. And this is, it's a little tiny detail because, like I said, it's white on white cardstock, so it's not going to be like the first thing that you notice. But it's, it'll give the background a slightly, it'll make it slightly more interesting because I think it's a little too plain. So we'll see how that goes. Really have no rhyme or reason to where I'm placing them. I'm just going to see what I like. Let's see. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lightly glue them down. I may or may not run the big ones through the sewing machine. I don't think I will, though, because I think that'll draw too much attention to them, and I want them to kind of be like a detail that's in the background. But it does like automatically add some interest to my background, so it's not so plain and white. And I think that's where I'm going to stop here. I am going to glue those down, and then I'm going to go and stitch through my lettering and then do a little bit more stitching here just to make sure everything is fastened and down on the paper. So just a recap of what I did today is I showed you how you could take something that you've already done, you know, pick a favorite layout or something that you really like design-wise, embellishment-wise, and take that and make a new layout based off of it. It's not going to be the same. As you can see here, it's pretty different. I mean, I have the general idea down here, but you know, it's not the same layout, so you're not going to go through your scrapbook albums and be like, oh, I did the same thing here and over, because it's new products, new pictures. I mean, I even switched up sizes here, so this is small, this is big. So two completely different layouts, and I didn't have to think too much at all about putting this one together, which is nice for those times when I'm feeling less than creative or I am short on time. So again, thanks for watching my video. Be sure to share yours if you can. If I've inspired you to go back and use an older layout as inspiration for a current project, share it with us. You can share it on Instagram. Just tag us at Citrus Twist Kits. Or you can share it in our gallery. You can share it on our Facebook page. And I'll have all the links to each of these places where you can share your work in the actual text of the blog post. So I am looking forward to seeing what you guys all do. Thanks again for watching today.